Welcome back to the Holistic Monitor. Today's episode is a special one, an archival recording from 1986 titled Joe at Home, Homeopathy. In this rare footage, you'll see Joseph R. Scogna Jr., the originator of the self-awareness formulas, or SAF, speaking candidly about the relationship between homeopathy and what he called the science of life energy. This video gives us a look into Joe's world during the time when SAF was evolving from a conceptual model into a working system. The mid-70s through the 80s were formative years in this research. It was during this period that Joe wed this SAF numbering system that we use, a structure that correlated organs, glands, and emotions to the homeopathic provings. That marriage of energetic medicine and mathematical precision became the foundation of the SAF method that we use today. What you'll notice in this video is Joe's unique way of linking the tangible and the intangible, how physical symptoms and emotional imbalances share the same energetic root. Through his calm but passionate explanations, he showed that the body, mind, and spirit are never separate. They communicate in a language of energy. This philosophy became the backbone of SAF and what we utilize today in the self-awareness formulas in our training. That each symptom is a coded message, a pattern of energy that can be read, understood, and ultimately resolved. At the time, he was using homeopathy to translate those messages into remedies. This is a system of Homerica. Today, the SAF system itself acts as a remedy, a framework that helps practitioners from all modalities identify and balance life energy without relying on substances. In the 1970s, Joe began asking a profound question. What if consciousness itself could be mapped? His exploration of human energy, physics, and homeopathy led to the creation of the self-awareness formulas, SAF. It's a system that translates the invisible currents of life into measurable patterns. Joseph's company, Life Energy Publications, Life Energy Research Foundation, Probiotic, Life Force, and Homerica became the vessel for this knowledge, producing a library of works that explored the nature of vitality, consciousness, and evolution. Through books like Project Isis and The Secret of SAF, he introduced readers to a holistic model of human existence, where energy, mass, and concept form the trinity of life itself. What you'll hear in this archival recording reflects that early vision. The understanding that everything is energy, and through awareness we can restore the natural harmony between body, mind, and spirit. In his early work, he put out many books on homeopathy and was an avid researcher in homeopathy as it pertained to SAF, but he also researched many different modalities. I often hear that the system itself needs to have homeopathy because he wrote and promoted it so much, homeopathy that is. But you will hear in some of this archive footage that homeopathy wasn't necessarily the only remedy, that SAF and the process of SAF was also itself a form of a remedy, a form of a method of getting to the root cause. He was passionate about this research, and it definitely comes across in the work. As you watch this archival footage, remember that the roots of SAF were planted in this very era, in a time when Joe was bridging ancient understandings of vibration and frequency with modern concepts of physics and psychology. So let's step back in time and listen to Joseph R. Scogna Jr. at home, in his own words, sharing the philosophy that helped shape the modern SAF method and continues to inspire our work today.
Oh, hi, how you doing? I didn't see you come in. I was just finishing up some programs here. I'll put these away. Why don't you sit down and make yourself comfortable. I'm glad you could come by because I wanted to talk to you more about Homerica and homeopathy. You know, homeopathy has been around for a pretty long time, and we're really excited about working with it because it's something that you never get tired of. You know, it has so many different aspects to it. The people that studied and developed homeopathy wanted to make programs that would get people to realize their greatest potentials. And we feel that the programs that we developed accomplish that task in the greatest sense of the word. Let me give you a little bit of background of how we started this whole program. It basically goes back about 13 years ago when we decided to write some new computer programs for the enhancement of behavior, ability, and many other kinds of functions of human characteristics. We started out with programs that would help an individual learn better and faster, and then gradually developed more generalized programs for health and nutrition. The reason why we got into homeopathy was because the homeopathic science addressed just about every known symptom that we could get our hands on. Here's a book that I just been using. It's part of the homeopathic library. It's written by a man named Oscar Baricki at the around the turn of the 20th century. The copyright reads 1927, actually. And you can see by the width of the book that it's a formidable volume. There's over 1,000 pages of different symptoms that involve the interaction of chemistry, animal, vegetable, and mineral with the human body. That is to say that certain substances in the environment have a way of affecting human beings in adverse ways. For example, when a person gets stung by a bee, it's very painful to begin with, but afterwards the individual also experiences swelling and many other kinds of symptoms, which may include dizziness, nausea, and in some cases people who are very allergic to bee stings may even experience shock and severe trauma. These symptoms that are connected with everyday life and living have been recorded in the homeopathic annals. It's almost mind-boggling to view all of the volumes that have been written in homeopathy. The followers of Samuel Hahnemann, who was the originator, the founder of homeopathy, made it their task to record all of the known symptoms created by any substance on the planet. Well, they set out for that task and actually record all of the planetary influences on human beings, but we kind of feel that we've set after picking up the ball for them. In 1973, our program was launched, and we decided that we were going to get into the field of human nutrition and behavior. And at that time, we didn't feel like reinventing the wheel, and so adopted a lot of the homeopathic principles. The materials that we found in the books were almost outlandish, but they helped us in developing many programs which were useful in helping individuals get through all kinds of traumas. Today, we're using computers to help us sort through the incredible array of symptomatology that is possible. Now, people who come into clinics looking for relief from symptoms can expect to find that our clinicians, our doctors, our individuals who are trained in this science will be able to address any symptom that is presented. What we're trying to say is that we're able to take whatever you can give us and take a good hard look at it and see how it relates to your life and living. The homeopathic programs in the Homerica project cover a lot of ground. We have the pain formula, we have energy enhancement program, We have a weight loss and weight management program, skin program, and drug addiction and smoking programs to cover a lot of different areas. So what I wanted to do was give you some insight into how these programs work and give you a better idea on how to make this thing work better for you. Because I'm sure you feel, as I do, that the quality of life is what's important, not the longevity of it. If one could live but 10 years in the peak of his health, it would replace 100 years of being an invalid, for sure. So I want to go over this a little bit with you and give you a better idea so that the programs, when you're running them, will mean a lot more to you. They'll be able to give you that extra mile that you may not have gotten otherwise. One of the first things I want to talk to you about is the application of the program itself. The reason why we had written the programs the way we did was so to give you a more formalized, step-by-step program to follow. In a lot of different regimes that you'll find yourself in, there are maybe not very organized, and it's very important for a human being to have an organized protocol to follow, and that's why if you take a look at this, well, I'm sure you've probably even seen our book, but we put together a massive text to guide you in your programming. Part of this programming is what we call the protocol check sheet, which gives you the true course of the program. It's essential for you to follow this. The whole program has been laid out in a step-by-step manner so that you can get the maximum results possible. It's very important for you to follow this program because it will cover things that you may not even thought about. Some of the things that will affect your energy, for example, you may not have given a second thought, but by looking through the protocols that is set up, there's things in here that we go over with you and that you should be very honest about so that, to help us help you. For example, all the medications that you're taking, all different medicines and drugs and remedies of any kind should be given over to the doctor. These should be listed. The reason why this is because medicines have an innate prescription to them that cause your body to behave in a certain way. So if you're experiencing symptoms or some kind of energy problems or energy losses, then it might be a logical assumption that it's some medicine that you're taking. So it's very important that we take a look at that. Another interesting part of the program is the idea of listing the operations and traumas that you may have had in the past. In a lot of our programming, we find that individuals are still suffering from some kind of miasma of the past that never was resolved. It's real important that you spend time with a doctor and get a good idea of the possibilities of any problems in the past causing you difficulties in the present. Your blood pressure will be taken. Make sure that you keep a good track of that. Of course, the monitor on the program, the doctors involved, will make sure that all of this information is written down and kept in strictest confidence, but at the same time, it's very important for you to not miss this step. We're vitally interested in the special orthodox signs of your energy and health integrity, and the blood pressure check is something that you will go through and also experience as part of the program. Be sure to take the questionnaire that is part of the program. The questionnaire was designed by the computer to ask specific questions that involve your health, your strength, your well-being, and your overall physical integrity. It's really, really important for you to take this questionnaire to give us a good idea of how much stress is on your system. With this questionnaire, we'll be able to get a good idea of just how much pressure and how much stress you have, so that we can tailor-make the program. And this is very unique in these type of regimes, to have a tailor-made program to your stress level. And by taking the stress questionnaire, you'll have a much better chance of coming out with the maximum results possible on the program. The program as it is built around the homeopathic application of drops, and also the medicines themselves. The medicines are set up to be delivered to you in a specific way that is more attuned to your system. It's the basis of homeopathy that each individual is specific and different from any other individual, and we follow that programming and that philosophy to the letter. Every person that comes in for one of the Homerica programs will get the greatest possible treatment for the time allotted. At the same time, we want to make sure that precision is part of the program. And so one of the things that you will be asked to do is take the homeopathic drops at certain times of the day, a certain number of drops per day, and a certain frequency, that is, so many times per day. A lot of drugs are like that. They're designed to be administered in certain dosages, but more so in homeopathy, it's really a basic part of the whole overall philosophy, and just the science itself depends on this kind of application. So I'd like to stress it to you that it's very, very important for you to pay attention to exactly how you take the drops, so it is according to the program and that which has been suggested by the physician that's in charge of your case. Now, there's a multitude of ideas that one can cover in homeopathy, and it's a very deep science, but fortunately, because the Homerica project exists, it's become a lot easier to deliver the program to lay people. And at the same time, it's been a lot easier for doctors to explain it to lay people. Probably the reason why homeopathy doesn't have a very big notice these days is because it was pretty complicated to assess an individual's condition and then come up with the right remedy. That's why they may have slightly faded out of the limelight, as it were. But due to modern technology and modern sciences, we're able to come up with a program that will give you a much better chance at making homeopathy work for you. If you've listened to some of the other tapes that were made about homeopathy, why, I'm sure you'll begin to realize that the homeopathic process is very important and vital to your overall well-being. The fact is that homeopathic drops aren't really liable to cause any harmful side effects, and that's what's very intriguing to us, and the track record of homeopathy is impeccable as far as this is concerned. But at the same time, there are factors involved when you're doing any kind of nutritional program, or any time you're trying to cleanse the system. You certainly run into some problems that need to be rectified, and I want to go over those things with you so that you know exactly what to suspect or expect, and you can, with your own knowledge that you will discover with this program, be able to help your physician and help yourself to a higher state of well-being. The first thing that I want to cover with you is the idea of taking the drops a certain number of times per day. It's very important that you follow this rule. it seems that there is a definite correlation between your condition or anyone else's condition and the frequency of the dose. That is to say that some individuals, because of the chronicity of their case, because of how long it's been lasting, will take the drops more slowly. Maybe they'll just have to take them 1 or 2 times per day. In other people's cases, people who have acute problems, problems that haven't had an onset long ago, problems that may have just cropped up, will take the drops on a very, very fast basis. In other words, they may be taking them every hour. It's vitally important that you follow the exact dosage regime, because this is certainly a part of the homeopathic principle, and it must be followed if you want to get the best results possible. However, there have been people who haven't taken the drops exactly the right way and still have gotten success. So it doesn't mean that if you miss a time, if you don't take them exactly when you're supposed to, that you won't get any benefits at all. You certainly will. But to get the maximum results, you should keep on top of it and make sure that you take the drops whenever you're supposed to. Another thing that's really important is how many drops you take. This is another part of the homeopathic principle. The science, which is a very exacting science, requires that the individual take a certain number of drops per day. So as the bottles are given to you, why you will see that the dropper allows you or permits you to put so many drops of the solution in water. Well, it's very important that if the physician or the individual who is directing the program tells you to take a certain number of drops per day, that you follow that. This is part of the programming that has come down through homeopathic principles. The drops may run anywhere from 1 drop in solution to 15 or 20 drops. Whatever the number of drops is, it's pretty important to stay on top of that. Again, however, if the exact number of drops aren't put in, this may not affect the program in your case all that much, but to follow the program to the letter is the most optimum thing to do. Now, another thing, when you get the drops and you have them, it's real important to mix them in distilled water rather than taking them straight under your tongue. Of course, it's a little hard to tell how many drops you're putting under your tongue unless somebody else does it for you, but it's easier to take a 4-ounce tumbler of distilled water. Now that's distilled water, that's water that has no other chemicals in it but water, and put the drops into the clear distilled water. At the same time, it wouldn't hurt for you to shake it slightly and just sort of mix up the substance in with the water, and then just sip it continually. In other words, let's say that you've had to take the drops 4 times per day, and at that rate you had to take 11 drops 4 times a day. Well, you take 11 drops and put them right in the water, and then swirl it around a little bit, and just maybe go watch TV or sit out on the porch and sip it. Just sip it until the whole glass is gone. And that will be your dose of remedy for that time. And each time that you're going to apply the remedies, you should do the same exact thing. In this way, you will get the maximum benefit of the program. Now, the situation with all programs, not just homeopathic programs or herbal programs, or any program that an individual develops to make himself better and stronger, involves the readjustment of the body chemistry. And I'd like to state at this point to you that our programs are nutritional in nature. They're a secondary elective care process. We don't use our programs for any primary care or crisis intervention. That's left up to your physician or the person who is in charge of your overall health and well-being. The decision that you make to do these programs is based on the fact that you would like to increase or enhance your well-being, and not that you're trying to get rid of some, very heavy, pressurized situation that can be taken care of by a physician. So it's very important that you understand that our programs are not to replace a primary care physician's efforts. But at the same time, as you're going through programs, you may run into some slight difficulties. Side effects in homeopathy are virtually unknown. That is, harmful side effects that are very, very noticeable. For example, one having seizures or heart attacks or anything of that nature has been certainly uncommon to homeopathy over the years. However, there are some discomforts with detoxification, and one should be aware of them and not be alarmed by them. At the same time, if one feels too uncomfortable by what's going on, why, you can certainly use some of the antidotes that we suggest that will slow the program down. These antidotes are taken from homeopathy from time immemorial. It's something that all homeopaths have used ever since the program was developed. But some of the things that individuals have run into, and I myself have encountered, have been the standard detoxification reaction that occurs with a lot of nutritional programs, or even programs that develop to get an individual back in shape. If a person were to go and join the Marines to turn himself into a man, well, there's a good possibility that he may go through some rigors in training that will leave him sore, have fatigue, exhaustion, headaches, what have you, as his body is going through these changes. It's very important for you to notice these changes to give us a better idea of how to help you through them. Because there are ways to get a person through these biochemical changes. They don't necessarily have to incapacitate a person. Many people have gone through nutritional programs and found themselves in the throes of what they call a detoxification reaction. And that basically means that poisons that have been in the system for a long time begin to excrete or extrude out of the system. And while they're leaving, they sort of wreak havoc on the person's sensibilities. And this comes in the form of splitting headaches, or what the person considers to be something that is very, very uncomfortable toward him. Well, these are phenomenon that occur in programming that must be faced and can certainly be alleviated. One of the things that you'll be instructed in is the observation of symptoms, number one, and also how to handle them, how to rid yourself of detoxification symptoms. Now, the interesting thing is, and that over the years I've found people have a very difficult time in discerning what are new symptoms and what are old symptoms. I mean, if a person is on a program, they should be instructed on the fine art of detecting their own symptomatology. It seems kind of crazy because after all these years, an individual should be able to know exactly how he feels and where his feelings are coming from. But what we're finding out more and more is that people are basically running on automatic, and they're not really sure what the cause or creation of their symptoms are. So this is, I think, a vital part of our programming, is the idea that we can help you educate yourself on how to find out your own symptoms. What are your symptoms all about? What do they mean? What are the signals all about? What kind of reactions do you have in the face of stress, in the face of your everyday problems? And this is a vital element to a person's existence. And we feel in this cause that we're developing a process that will not only make people feel better, but give them a method of gaining a higher awareness, even a higher intelligence. But let me tell you about a few of the little things that may occur while you're doing the program. You may have headaches, you may have energy loss, sluggishness, nervousness, anxiety, maybe even heart palpitations, slight things, nothing that's very threatening, just things that may make you feel uncomfortable. There may be some nausea, dizziness, many symptoms that seem to be everyday kind of symptoms to people may come on in a rush and upset a person. A lot of times we find out that if the person is not really aware of this while he's doing the program, he may think that the symptoms are just part of the ordinary course of his life. And in fact, they're just part of the detoxification reactions that occur when a person is trying to get himself better. So it's real important for you to report what kind of new symptoms you have so that the physician directing your program can help you by recommending other actions to take that will alleviate these symptoms. The faster these new symptoms go away, the faster your program will progress to its highest state. Now, some of the things that physicians have instructed their patients or candidates to do is things like exercising, sauna bath, just taking long walks. The detoxification reaction that a person feels is actually a good reaction, not a bad reaction. It's a signal that poisons are coming out of the system. And a lot of times a person doesn't recognize this as such. And so, for example, if he were to suddenly start to have a cold, a head cold or something, instead of following the exact precision approach of homeopathy and the direction of his physician in this case, he may go to the store and buy a contact remedy to alleviate the cold, not realizing that it's part of the program. And the next thing that happens is that the contact remedy, which is really counteropposed to the program that's being run, actually shuts the program down, stops the program. And the person is really just spinning their wheels. It's really important to observe the symptom, see that it's a new symptom, something that you didn't have before, and then report it to the physician. He then, in turn, will be able to react or size up the situation and tell you what to do. Now, some of the easiest things to do are to take certain substances which have a antipathetic or antidoting effect on homeopathy. And some of these substances, I'll give you a list of them, but you will be sure to get your very own lists from the physician or the person directing the program so that you can help yourself in times when you feel uncomfortable, if you ever reach that point. Well, substances like mint, spearmint, peppermint, menthols, camphors, eucalyptus, aspirin, coffee with caffeine in it, any compound containing adrenal or any stimulant many times will antidote the effect of the program. Now let me list those again so that you remember them. Mint, like spearmint or peppermint, any menthols or camphors, and these are things that are found in cough drops and candies, and in some toothpastes, shaving creams, things like that. You may even find peppermint, spearmint, any eucalyptus-like substance in ice cream or candies. It would pay to check the labels. You may also use aspirin or any stimulants like caffeine. These things will shut the program down, will stop the program. And this is a testimony to the safeness of homeopathy and the fact that it can be turned off or antidoted very, very easily by one of these substances. At the same time, if you're trying to make this program work and you're eating some of these things, well then it's going to be very difficult for you to get the maximum effect. I recall some individual who was using the program and wasn't getting any effect, and here he liked to chew on toothpicks with peppermint on them, and he never seemed to get anywhere until we found out what he was doing. He was actually antidoting the program. A lot of people inadvertently antidote the program. Now, some people worry that if they're a coffee drinker or something like that, that they're not going to get the benefits of the program because they'll be constantly antidoting the program. And that may be true to a certain extent, but the best thing to do in this cause is to take the drops or the remedies at least 3 hours before or after having a cup of coffee. That's the same thing goes for any meals. If a person is taking the drops around meals, why, he should wait at least 15 minutes after the meal, or take the drops 15 minutes before the meals. Don't take the drops with meals, because this is not a workable situation. You see, because homeopathy is a substance that is not really made of mass energies the way food is. It's not like a vitamin substance or a mega substance. Homeopathics are made of water and energy, basically. And these energy vibrations get disturbed around any mass quantities of food or vitamin, anything ingested. It's always best to take the homeopathy or homeopathic remedies on an empty stomach, or especially when in times when the individual is more, let's say, relaxed and undisturbed by the environment. Even the environment itself, maybe even things like television may interfere with homeopathy, because homeopathy is, in essence, a radio wave. It's a radio signal that is programmed into the bottle. And in our next meeting, I would like to explain more about that to you. It's a little bit deep, but I'm sure you'd really be interested in how it develops. There's some other situations that can certainly affect the overall program, and these are occurrences in a person's everyday environment that one should certainly be aware of. And it's interesting because homeopathy is something that neither goes into the bloodstream or the digestive tract, but works on the brain itself. It's a nervous system stimulant, and it's a mechanism that actually helps your body change the signals of energy to various segments of the body, therefore changing the overall pattern of existence for a person. It's a very powerful program. But people don't realize it, that their state of being, their state of well-being does affect the program. One of the things that may cause aggravations in an individual, that is, we call it aggravations when a person has detoxification problems, when headaches come on, or they become very sensitive, anxious, they have insomnia, things like this. One of the things that could create this circumstance is any kind of high stimulation, especially arguments and disagreements with loved ones. Now, this may seem like we're entering into the psychological realm, but as I said, homeopathy is a program that affects the brain, and the brain is basically controlled by the mind. And so if the brain is being manipulated, so to speak, so that the individual can change his behavioral patterns, and at the same time he is having arguments and disagreements or losses or any kind of degradation, this may affect the program. This may cause an aggravation. A person may go into what we call hyperstimulation, which means that the program starts to work faster and faster beyond the control of the individual. Again, this is no cause for alarm at all, because all of these things can be handled if the person reports them to the physician who is directing the program, because the physician is trained to spot these problems and alleviate them as fast as possible. I have so many things to talk to you about. I'm just, you know, I know you have to go, but I want to make sure that I cover as much as I can while you're here, because one thing I like to tell you is that this type of program, and all of our programs, are a lifelong study. It's a kind of a philosophy that requires that the individual spend a good deal of time studying, and is something really important, because man and his environment is certainly changing. The poisons and pollution that we have in our water and food and in the air didn't exist 50 to 60 years ago. 150 years ago, when the homeopaths had their heyday, there was really virtually none of the kind of problems in the atmosphere that there are today. And there certainly wasn't the kind of stress that modern man has. And so it's really important that homeopathy and human beings go through an evolutionary stage to understand more about their energy. We believe in the program that human beings should learn about themselves from an early age, 2 or 3 years old, to learn to take care of themselves and not be a burden to physicians and individuals who are trying to take care of the crisis problems that we have in everyday life. If you look back on your own problems, you see many times that if you just knew a certain few answers to your problems, you wouldn't have been a burden on anyone. You could just fix your own problem. So it's our intent to train every individual that we can on these programs and these processes, so that you can take care of yourself and take care of other people around you. When you're doing the program, you should keep a conscious record of how your energy is progressing and how close you're getting to your goal. If you're not getting your goal, then it's important to turn yourself in, because you don't want to make yourself a failure. It's important for your own benefit and for the benefit of the overall program, the physicians, the monitors, and the people who are trying to help you, to get a fair chance to win at this game. If you notice a sudden loss of energy while you're doing programs, then this is another cause for you to report to the physician. A lot of times people take it for granted that they're just tired or they have some kind of a problem, and that's not really the case. The program is working on certain systems, and it's more or less causing a state of reconstruction in the body, and well, it's just the same as when there's any renovations going on. There's a temporary hiatus in operation, and people who notice a sudden loss of energy in doing the programs are realizing something that is a real momentary. One should not try to remedy these things on his own. We're real interested in making sure that you have the correct changes of energy and of the configuration of the problem, because these are the things that are going to give us the information that we need to help you. If you don't report and you don't tell us what's happening, then we're not going to be able to come up with a better idea to steer you around the jagged rocks. As you're moving your ship out to sea, you have to realize that there's going to be many things blocking your pathway, and we want to help steer you around those. We would appreciate it when you finish the program, and you will finish the program, and you will do very well, to write us a success story and let us know how you've done. We're constantly appreciative of the people who stand behind our programs and who are responsible for causing other people to become aware of them. There's no sense in me going on a long harangue about all the people that we've helped. Certainly there's thousands of testimonials, and there's many physicians and doctors who have used our programs and have brought people to a higher state of well-being. These people are readily available to talk to, and we invite you to talk with them and converse with them and get more information on what Homerica is all about. Well, I have to go back to work. I really don't have all that much time. I've got to finish this program, and after I get it finished, why, I'm sure that you may want to participate in it. See ya.
That was Joseph R. Scogna Jr. in 1986, sharing his vision of life energy and the principles that are and make up the self-awareness formulas. Even after decades, his words still ring true. The idea that energy flows through us in patterns, that our thoughts, emotions, and bodies are interconnected through electromagnetic relationships. This remains the core of everything we teach and practice in the SAF method. What's remarkable is how this framework has evolved into a complete system for self-discovery and wellness. SAF today still draws upon those roots in homeopathy, not through medicinal doses, but through energetic patterns that mirror those principles of resonance and balance. It's why SAF works so seamlessly with other modalities, from acupuncture and herbal therapy to sound healing and emotional release work. The science of homeopathy that Joe spoke of, the like cures like principle, is reflected in the way SAF helps us see our own mirrors and realign them through awareness. For those of you who want to explore this deeper, our Founders Day book bundle is now available. It includes The Secret of SAF, Joseph R. Scogna Jr.'s master work on the self-awareness formulas, and SAF Simplified, a modern guide that introduces the core principles in an accessible way. Together they trace the path from these very early teachings to the complete system we use today. Joseph R. Scogna believed that awareness was the first step toward healing, and that when we understand the language of energy, we reclaim our power to change. May this archival recording remind us all that the foundations of SAF aren't just history, they're living principles, guiding us toward balance and wholeness every day. That wraps it up for this episode of the Holistic Monitor. Just a reminder to like and subscribe to see more content like this. And until next time, my friends, be well.